have another fantastic session to take you to the rest of the day, which is From Droll to LOL. Anuvab Paul, Joy Bhattacharya, and Atri Bhattacharya on how humor has morphed in writings from blandings to blogs. Quick introductions. Anuvab Paul is an internationally renowned playwright, author, screenwriter, stand-up comic, and columnist. Joy Bhattacharya has spent over 20 years directly associated with Indian sport and media. Apart from producing live international cricket, he helps create programs like ESPN School Quiz. Otri Bhattacharya is a senior bureaucrat with the West Bengal government, a quizzer of great repute, and a voracious reader. Bhattacharya won his round of the Mastermind quiz by choosing P.G. Wodehouse as the subject of specialization. Ramona Sen will be in conversation with our three panelists. She is the author of the novels Creme Brulee and Potluck. She claims to have a day job but is unable to explain what it might be. Her inspirations are P.G. Wodehouse and a well-baked chocolate pie. This session is brought to you by Greenply. May I please request our panelists to come up on stage? We are going to need another mic, hand mic up on stage, please. Also, just before we start off the session, this was programmed with Ben Scott, who was unfortunately unable to come because his father passed away. So,
Hello. No, we have three. So this panel is called From Droll to LOL. And we were discussing this backstage, and O3 said if anyone says LOL in the audience, he's going to walk out. In fact, if I keep saying LOL, he's going to walk out, because there's absolutely nothing Woodhouseian about LOL. But Woodhouse is very droll, and I think there's a lot that one attributes to him that that we don't know. Like, for instance, the phrase, elementary, my dear Watson. Elementary. That is not actually from Conan Doyle. It's from P.G. Wodehouse. And can anyone guess which character said it? Does anyone know? Yes.
Has to be Smith.
It's Smith.
It has to be
it's
Smith, but
It's
he
Smith.
was not the first person to use that phrase. He was Woodhouse's one of he was very good at choosing what was best and recycling it. So a little like R.D. Burman.
No, but I think Sherlock used to just say elementary, and Woodhouse made the phrase elementary, my dear Watson, really famous. So I think all of us grew up reading Woodhouse, even though we come from very different backgrounds on this panel. And when did all of you discover your personal funny bones?
Personal funny bone I don't know about, but Woodhouse I discovered in 1977 when a friend of mine called Shomadip Chaudhary turned down and said, read this guy, he's light romance. Now, if you're 77, when you're 11 years old, light romance, you'd rather kiss a python than admit you want to read romance books. So it wasn't the most edifying thing that I've ever heard of in my life. But after that, I read this book, this man, again, I come to this character, Smith, and he was just so utterly cool. I mean, he was, and most importantly, sitting here in Kolkata, with 34 years of Marxist rule we've had, he was the ultimate communist. He would borrow people's umbrellas, give them to other people. And the way he'd call people comrade and say, Comrade Waldowick, your umbrella has gone to a worthy cause. And that guy didn't know what he was doing. So, I mean, that, once you discover Woodhouse, the point of it was that humor and Woodhouse is like all humor, basically subversive. And, at 11, 12, when you discover the subversive side of you, it's a wonderful thing. It's terrible for your parents, it's terrible for your teachers, but it's a wonderful thing personally.
I very early on, I remember reading Woodhouse and thinking, this is the most Bengali thing I've ever read. Because in Woodhouse, there are a set of characters who do nothing. They've inherited money from an aunt. They do nothing. They spend the whole thing trying to get out of a party, trying to attend a thing, trying to fix a watch.
Yeah, there are plenty of people like that in Cal.
I
Try to get out of getting married.
not getting married. where is the? I always wanted a Woodhouseian Calcutta. Like for example, I used to see more Woodhouse examples growing up in Cal than anywhere else. I used to have a friend who had a big Bengali joint family, and what I loved is there was always an unmarried uncle who had no money. He lived off the elder brother. Yeah, that guy. And he would always be the fixer. Hey, lighter fix kar deto? And he would always come and enter conversations when he was not wanted. Cricket ta kemon hocche? And then leave. He paid for nothing. He made no money his whole life. And I was like, that's Woodhouse. You know, like,
So I have to then tell you that this is, you're so correct. And especially in houses in Bengal, especially people who've come over from partition, you've come over and basically a table was laid and people would come there and they'd eat. I mean, they'd be close family, cousins, second cousins, relative, friend of a relative. Nobody knew the table, people would come and eat. And that was the culture in the 50s. And there was this one particular uncle, which I need to talk about, which my mother told me about with a great deal of reverence. And he one day, this is the 50s, and Operation Bhudan had happened, Vinoba Bhave. So he was very inspired. So he went off to this Bhudan movement. He said, Ami Vinoba Bhave's সাথে কাজ করবেন. He went off. 7 years later, without a by your word, no letter, nothing, he lands up for lunch one day and sits on the table again. And for 2 months, it is only in Bengal, for 2 months, nobody asked him why he'd gone and why he's come back. Now he comes back and he sits down out there. And one day, one of the Mashis turns around and says, Kanore? That's all, Kanore. And he turned around and he gave this look and he said, Dhokar dalnar quality ta eto pode gechilo na. So this man basically goes, works 7 years.
for a movement.
Yeah, and then Dhokar dalna doesn't work for him, he comes back. Not only that, in Bengal, my father was a brigadier in the army, there was somebody else who was a senior civil servant. He was the most wanted uncle in the business. Why? Because he was a projectionist at Metro Cinema. So he would get film tickets for the kids. No other uncle mattered, boss. Hey, Mesho, ticket ache na ki? Ache, boss. Thik ache. So that's Bengal for you, and it's so true about what we have.
So, but I think by mentioning food, you've aptly linked it to the kind of movement that is very important to all Bengalis. Let's not go into details. But the other thing is Smith, as you mentioned. Smith was, if you say he's subversive, you miss the hidebound, straitjacketed nature of communism in Bengal for 34 years, which was why he was such a favorite. You never knew what he would say next. You never knew what connection he would make next, right? So
Don't know you could have been shot out here 10 years back, right?
I don't think so. I got by. So, no, but you see, at the end of Leave It to Smith, where the cottage has been ransacked and it's in chaos, there's a dead bat on the floor in the fireplace. Smith picks it up, wraps it in his immaculate white handkerchief, and in reply to an inquiring look from Eve Halliday, he says, "Somebody's mother." So that is the kind of non sequitur that was throughout Woodhouse.
So is that the character you identify with most?
I wish I
Disturbingly.
did. To get back to the funny bone bit, you look at me now. I was approximately the same shape when I was a child. So when you were a fat kid, the best way out is to try and be funny. The best way to try and deal with hard reality, or not so hard in this case.
Yeah, so I think Woodhouse taught everyone how to deal with humor in a stressful situation, inject humor into a stressful situation. And Joy, do you have?
No, I mean, my biggest problem was that this is a complete and utter lie. All my life I tried to be funny because they told me that that's the way to a girl's heart. Be funny, and she'll say, "Oh, that's so funny. Let me take my clothes off now." It never happened. It never happens. That's a lie. Women look at you
It
as if you're
happens
some sort of
sometimes.
repulsive insect and walk away from you. You do not. It's no point. Guys, if you're there and you're trying to be funny because you're going to get women, it does not happen.
There's one young gentleman over there nodding sadly.
I think first.
Sagely, I think he's now understood the meaning, and it's an utter waste of time.
I
If
think
you're
first
attending this
abs,
session
then
because
funny.
there are some good tips, it's not happening here.
So first abs, then funny.
First, abs and funny. Look, I think in the Woodhouseian sense...
Hang on a second. Around the time we grew up, abs were irrelevant because you never got to the stage where you saw them.
Yeah, but yeah.
Sorry, are you both talking about searching for love with humor? I'm losing the point.
Yeah, somewhere there, somewhere at some point.
I don't know if
in
it was about love though.
For
I don't think
for
love-
teenagers, it's a different four-letter word that also starts with L.
I always found humor never, as in, like someone would be like, you're very funny. You're very funny. Let me introduce you to my boyfriend, so and so. Humor was never a thing. But I've just found, I don't know if you guys think so, but in Calcutta, you don't have to try for Woodhouseian humor. You are surrounded by Woodhouseian humor. I came to, in winter, we all come back from, people live in different parts, they come back, meet friends, school, this, that. A friend of mine from school went away to Australia. I haven't seen him in 20 years. So you think when you're reuniting after 20 years, what is the first thing he'd say? Hey, how are you? How do you have wife, kids? What's going on with life? First thing he says to me, I'm obsessed with biryani. He said, I landed. His name is a very close Bengali friend of mine, lives in Salt Lake. I said, oh, how are you? How are things? He said, don't worry about wife, children, all fine. Listen, I'm obsessed with biryani. Let me show you photos. I've only been eating biryani. These are 40 biryanis I've eaten in my 10 days in Calcutta. I said, how are your parents? Don't worry. He just kept showing me photos of biryani. Like, what is more Woodhouseian than that?
No, Bengalis are obsessed with biryani, yes.
I beg to differ because Woodhouse, sadly enough, and this is something that I am truly sad, he never got into any details about food except that Anatoly was, sublime. He never actually mentions a dish that any of the characters really loved. So I think that could be, not only was he British, he went to a public school, so what would they know about food?
Well, frequently he
but
talked
he's right.
about
He's
E and
absolutely
B, which was eggs and bacon.
He did talk about, but he's absolutely right. Like, he didn't get into specifics of food. But one thing, my big thing from Woodhouse was he loved quirky people, like people obsessed with a thing, and people who have inherited money and are wasting time. There is no better definition of my hometown than people who've inherited money and wasting time. I come back and see old friends. What are you doing? No, I've got into squash in a big way.
Ouch.
Or even in politics.
The kind you make jam out of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's squash. But politics here is also much funnier than in the rest of the country.
No, I have a theory, and this is an important theory out here, because, in 2014, the West Bengal, the electorate in Bengal, or was it 2011? I think it was 2011, had a very important choice. That Buddhadev, who was a, respected chief minister and a well-known poet and translator. And that Mamata Banerjee, who was also a politician and a translator and writer. And they thought that maybe it was perhaps a better idea. Buddhadev is a really good translator and writer. Perhaps it's good for him to retire from politics and do what he did best. And if Mamata was in government, perhaps she wouldn't write as often as she did, And I think that was the basic reason for this entire thing. So when the Bengal electorate...
In the meantime, can you find me a new job?
So when the electorate voted, they
He's
voted for
endangering my
really
job.
good reasons. They said that kind of poetry, if this lady gets to write and paint all day, Bengal is over. This cannot survive.
See, that's Otri's new job. He's on a stand-up panel. He's going to become a comedian now. And politics is great training.
The way I put it to Anubhav is I need to take career counseling from him because, what he does, the only difference between what he does and I do is that I'm sitting down.
So that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Like, you can't top some of the stuff going on. You can't. And also,
Some of the stuff that happens to me on a daily basis.
yeah. But what I love more than, because it's easy to pick on big politicians, right? Your comedians will come and say, oh, Kaka Chichi is very funny, etc. It is very funny. But to me, the little things are much funnier. The little things in politics. Like, the video was circulating with, the anti-NRC, whatever, our Honorable Chief Minister saying, Chichi, Kaka Chichi, right? And the poem became very popular. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. What I loved is, not so much the speech, etc., but again, Woodhouseian, small behavior. There were lots of supporters who wanted to repeat the words of the poem, right? So when the poem went, BJP Chichi, everyone said BJP Chichi. When it went to Kaka Chichi, you cut to the people behind, they just went, এবার কবিতাটা কোথায় যাচ্ছে কার কবিতাটা কোথায় যাচ্ছে they just lost the direction. You saw one Bengali gentleman on the side saying আমি নিচে যাচ্ছি. He didn't want to carry on with the poem. Where else in the world will that happen? Like, I have a relative who said, I'm very, very anglicized Bengali relative, I'm very disgruntled with the state of politics. আমি না Honorable Chief Minister একটা চিঠি লিখছি. He's been telling me this for 2.5 years. I said, it's a long letter. I said, Uncle, চিঠিটা কোথায়? Post করবো. In 2020. Now, what is more Woodhouseian than that? You know what I mean? Like, It's like living in a Woodhouse.
So is this what inspired you to be a stand-up comedian and take humor professional?
Did we have a choice?
Yeah, yeah. I think all of us. I don't know if that. I don't know. I'll ask these guys this. But in Calcutta, don't you feel if you're from here, everyone in their head is secretly an artist?
That's true. Yeah.
Secretly an artist. Not
I
so
wish it was secretly enough, in fact. Considering the amount of art we are inflicted on,
secretly.
I wish it was more secret.
I'll tell you, all our parents are getting older. Few days ago, I came back to Calcutta just for shows. And few days ago, my mother went to an orthopedic because her leg is hurting. And she was telling me, I said, how was your thing with the orthopedic, with the leg? He said, na, amay dekheche, but he's actually a Robindra Sangeet singer. So I said, I just want to see the X-ray. I don't want to know if he's an...
But again, I will differ. Because, there are certain very, very essential parts of Bangaliana that Woodhouse just did not relate to.
Huh.
Woodhouse had never heard of Jelusil.
Yeah.
So if that follows from his not being okay. And when you talk of illness, so there isn't very much mention apart from Bertie's morning head and the Jesus famous pick me up. There is no mention of illness in Woodhouse. Whereas my personal experience, in training as a BDO, I made the primary mistake of asking the head clerk, "Bhalo achen?" And he says, "Emni kintu oi." Operation time. Then he's hauling up his kurta to show me his scar. I was aghast. So that doesn't happen in Woodhouse because another thing about Woodhouse, which possibly Joy is very disappointed about, is that all the characters are usually fully clothed.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Well,
fully
they're
clothed.
always lovesick.
Yeah, but they're fully clothed, and that's important because it reminds me of a great story that happened in a long time back at the Ramna Maidan. I think Fazlul Haq had passed away, and it was a very solemn occasion because the gentleman passed away, and all the leaders were Bengalis, were on stage, and Bangladeshis are like us, equally Bengali, equally excitable about everything, and they used to wear dhotis, and often under the dhotis there was a freedom of movement, not much else under. So as it happened, this one man is on stage and he started speaking and he said, Fojlulokar amon moder modde nai. And he's no longer among us. And then he got more excited. Fojlulokar moder modde nai. And then he got so excited that he picked up his dhuti to wipe his tears off. And at that point in time, he looked and he saw 2 lakh other Bengali men with their dhutis in their faces, crying. And he said, Bojja, bojja kandu, bojja, bojja kandu. And apparently that sight of 200,000 Bengalis with their dhutis around their faces has not been forgotten in Bangladeshi history still.
It's been eradicated because I've never heard of it.
That almost sounds like a war crime, a human rights abuse.
But I don't know whether anyone's really reading humor anymore, possibly because it's always all around us. But do you think humor these days is kind of an endangered species? Are we losing our sense of humor?
What do you think, Otri?
How can you say that with Anubhav on stage? And a bureaucrat.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget, Yes Minister was still the most popular TV show in Britain for years and years.
Well, that's true. But do you feel as though we're easily offended these days? And how do you use that in? Well, you use that in quizzes. How do you use that for stand-up?
Well, you don't use it. You get what you see. Now people have access to you, so you get a lot of.
You wrote a piece that was published in Times of India a week ago, and were you scared at all while writing that?
No. So what happens is, I'll tell you. So now when you write in Times of India, etc., see, the thing is that I have the good fortune of not having to face the public's ire, which my good friend Otre has to do, day-to-day problems of the public. And as we know, the Bengali public are not easy to satisfy. If they have issues with a single Rasgulla, the running of the state is a different problem. So I remember a friend of mine telling me in another state, they had instituted a hotline. So the public can call in to a bureaucrat with any problem. So you would think public will call in with what problem? My bridge is fallen, there's no water. You think big problems. Indian public called in with every problem. So bureaucrat was getting calls saying, Ama suitcase ta hariye geche.
Can I tell you a true incident? Suitcase hariye jawa is still good. So, and this is not very long ago. No names because I need to stay employed. But so this is, I hope this isn't contempt of court. A right honorable justice calls the chief secretary of the state And this comes through on his. So he says, "Well, just 1 minute." I was in his room when this happened. There's a call, something to do with the High Court, something to do with litigation. Acha. Ki hola, sir? This man is calling me because he was driving to work and he saw a home guard smoking a bidi he does not approve. And I said, maybe he's jealous. Okay, ek packet pathiye din. But and the whole thing about but I have a question to ask you.
Yeah.
After you wrote that
Article. Yes.
how much hate mail did you receive? Did somebody ban you? Did somebody stone your house?
So what happens is, I'm nowhere close to some of my colleagues.
You are a failure.
I'm nowhere close to say what Kunal Khamra gets or Varun Grover gets. That's next level. That is we'll kill you, burn you, the next level stuff. If you are a cowardly Bengali comedian, you stay. You stay in your level. So, but Times of India said, write an editorial, make a satire piece on our Supreme Leader. We only have one Supreme Leader. So I said, dear Supreme Leader, and I wrote a letter. Yeah. So I wrote, I'm not named, it could be anything. It could be Stalin. It could,
Nice try, dude.
It could be
nice
anyone.
try. You're trying very hard, but they know. They know. I just want you to know, they know.
tomorrow's Telegraph headline, comedian goes missing. Found in Assam.
No.
To adapt a Meghan Markle meme, it's very sad about the accident Anubhav meets next week.
yeah. That quietly drowned. So wrote article.
No Bengali can be quietly anything. Let's get that
That's
clear.
true. That's true. It wasn't quiet. It was an article in the middle of Times of India. So I knew they can.
Of course they can. Did you never appear for exams?
Yeah. No, but then they're writing their opinion. They're still not quiet. Anyway, so you were talking about how much abuse I got the next morning. Middle of Times of India article comes out, 14th January, about thing. Next day, somehow they got hold of my phone number. So you get abuse on Facebook, that's fine. Twitter, fine. So I wake up, I have 2,000 WhatsApp messages. Normally, I have 10 WhatsApp messages. One from my maid saying, I'm not coming. One from my wife saying, why the hell are you sleeping so late? One from my mother saying, my orthopedic is a Rabindra Sangeet singer. I don't get 2,000. I got 2,000. Will kill you, left wing, Liptard, Trinamool, secular, this, that, etc. Now, difficulty is, I have no problem with abuse. You abuse me, I have no problem. You got my number, lovely. Now we have 2,000 messages. Within that, some of them are your messages. It's a logistics problem. So you have to keep scrolling. The guy abusing, sending photos of his private, all this. Then message from your driver saying, sir, main bank mein hu. You need that message. So sadly, you have to read all the abuse.
And you have to retain a sense of humor while reading them.
Yeah. Your next show is in, then after that, tu bahara.
No, I don't know. I think all of us have been through that very painful situation. New Year, Poila Boishak, Durga Pujo.
Correct.
579 messages saying, wish you all the best. God damn you, call.
Yeah. So, but this was...
I was the only Bengali. No, Jeet Banerjee and me were the only two Bengalis on stage when KKR did not take Saurav Ganguly. So if you want to talk about hate messages, I'm there with the best
No,
of
that, that's rough. That's rough. That has to be the roughest.
Let's talk about humor and your sports stories.
So sports, as I said, humor in sport, I mean, you need it because, sports is such a tinderbox situation. And that's why, sometimes it's underrated. Like somebody like a Wasim Akram. I mean, the amount he teaches people about fast bowling and all is fantastic. He just, he pats a guy, turns around, turns his action. In 6 months, the guy's played for India. And it's actually happened, a chap called Jayadev Unatkar. But even more than that is, when you're losing, sports teams are interesting things. When you're winning, everyone loves you. When you're losing, only the 20 people in that room, the 11 players and the staff like you. The rest of the world hates you. So that time, to have a guy like Wasim Akram, and he would tell the most amazing stories. Like, there was this one story, his favorite character obviously was a very favorite character of all of us, chap called Inzamam ul Haq, And Inzamam was proportionately built, he was built to last, he was built for size, And so once upon a time, basically, Inzi was batting, and
Just to put in what describes me as well, built for greed, not speed.
so Inzamam at this point in time, Wasim Akram has come in, Inzamam is batting beautifully, he is on the batting crease. Non-strikers then, Wasim Akram comes in and he says, look, it's the last ball. If we don't take a single, then I will be facing the last over. I have just come in. So whatever happens, even if it's a fast ball, the ball goes through the keeper, you run. So Inzamam says, Wasim bhai, no problem. So TK, Wasim takes stance. Ball comes, Inzamam has a mighty whack at it, doesn't connect. Wasim runs, dives, okay? And the last thing he says he remembers is that his bat is in the crease. He says, I've made it, okay? And he's like down there in the ground, said, okay, now next over will be good. And suddenly he hears a voice next to his ear, says, Are Wasim bhai, aap yahan? And it's like as if he's invited him for lunch. Are aap ghar pahunch gaye? And Wasim is like, you bastard, in the wrong side. So, I mean, telling a story like that for cricketers, it's so important because it lets off that steam. And, guys like Wasim and all were so good at it that, the next day when you go out to play, your players are loose, they're relaxed. It's a very different thing. And it's really important for sport.
I just say that, on a maybe unwanted serious note, this whole thing about humor, etc., letting off steam, one of the biggest things about Woodhouse was that his humor was never targeted at people. It was never nasty. It was very benign. And I think, that's something we increasingly need in the present day. Number one, we are incapable of laughing at ourselves, although you did try. But that's it. It leads to insanity if you take yourself too seriously. It's much better, The way I've always had to do it is, it's better to, if you can't beat them, join them. So start off by laughing at yourself. It makes them look very silly. That's one. That it's benign. And number two, one of the reasons I really respect Harvard as an institution is that it is the only place I've found where on the referral form where somebody's number 3 or 4 or something is sense of humor, which is an indicator of how important it is in your daily life. I asked them about it and said, number one, it's a fantastic negotiation tool. Number two, it diffuses friction. Unfortunately, that's not how I've found it in my professional life.
Well, I think Woodhouse was what Bengal would call a bhalo manush, and yes, very naive because he for the latter half of his life, his own country hated him because he was doing a funny talk show sitting in Germany. But and he didn't mean to be. He wanted to diffuse the situation, but everyone hated him for not being political. And I think, I think that's something that happens to many of us even today.
Also, the one-line comeback. It's a very Woodhouseian thing. Generally in the world also.
Maybe more Wildian even, I think.
Yeah.
right?
That stuff,
Churchill, also, if you look at it
I
that
mean,
way.
importance of being earnest. I love that line where a lady loses her child. There's that famous line, right? Who's the mother? I forget. In Importance of Being Earnest. To lose one child, Lady Windermere. Right? To
Lady
lose
Windermere.
one child is considered carelessness.
Yeah.
To both is downright silliness.
Well, I have a line here from Wilde, and it's romance.
Child would be misfortune, 2 is carelessness.
Yeah, to lose one child is misfortune. It's not miscarriage. The joke is not about miscarriage. She literally lost her child in a railway station.
In a carpet bag.
In a bag. To lose one child is misfortune.
To lose one child is misfortune, to lose 2 would be carelessness. My wife's sitting here, so I can't comment on that too much.
But so that all came from Woodhouse. Woodhouse's great lines I used to love were that Worcester's comeback. Who was the butler?
Jeeves.
Jeeves's comeback. He was not a butler. What was he?
That is sacrilege. He was a gentleman's personal gentleman. He was not a butler.
Gentleman's personal gentleman. Right. A Marwari house in Calcutta has many of those. A gentleman's personal gentleman. That almost sounds slightly inappropriate.
Yeah.
At one point,
It was written in the 1920s.
I think it's the wrong panel we are talking about right now. Sorry.
but he wears this, Worcester wears a nice suit. And he looks himself in the mirror and says, Jeeves, I think I look very handsome. And Jeeves responds, that mood will pass, sir.
Yes.
That comeback is died. Like with abuse, if you say something funny and the person is like, oh, you're so-and-so, your parents are so-and-so, there's no comeback to that. If someone abuses you and calls you this, you either say, yeah, fine, no problem.
To repeat one of my favorite stories. So I actually think that most of Woodhouse's humor was more build up and situational, more like Joy's stories than your repartee.
Yeah.
But he was, in a way, the essence of what we term British humor, which actually lasted well into the 80s and 90s. Monty Python was a bit of an outlier, but the kind of humor that Woodhouse practiced but didn't actually. So there was this American. Being nasty to a Brit and telling them, and yet you're insular. What's all this about living in the same house for 800 years and marrying your cousin? But you got to have a worldview. In my veins, look at me. In my veins, I got Norwegian blood, German blood, Nigerian blood, Egyptian blood. So the Brit finally loses and says, "Oh, I say, how jolly of your mother."
So how do you think humor is best served these days? Joy, you do a lot of memes that you put on your Facebook wall, and they do rather well.
No, not just memes. In quizzes, I try my best to be subversive in very different ways. And sometimes, I do quizzes in Vancouver, places like Singapore. So in one of these places, Singapore had to do a quiz, and I suddenly realized that the audience was part adult and part children that brought their children there. And my question was about, and it turned out there's a character called Toad in Mario Kart. And the character called Toad had been described that because a certain lady called Stormy Daniels had seen rather more of Donald Trump than the rest of the world would like to see. And she described that character as the particular part that she saw looks like Toad in Mario Kart. So I put up that picture and I said, either tell me, which character this is, or, who would be interested in a reference to this. So the parents were rolling in the eyes, but the children saying, "Arey yaar, Mario ke upar itna easy question kyun hua?" So you can be subversive in many, many, many ways, And it's fun because, at the end of the day, all we have is our sense of humor. For what I've said today, the police is already on its way. I'm soon going to get arrested. I will go to jail. Anubhav will be in the next plane. Uttri will survive because he's a public civil servant.
I will refer
You will bring biryani on Monday.
I will refer
Aloo wala
you to-
biryani, promise.
I will
please.
refer you to Douglas Adams' acronym in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, SEP. It's what I live by. SEP stands for somebody else's problem.
That's a good.
It's a very Bengali way to live.
Yeah, it's an
With
extremely.
friends like
Yeah.
this.
I think the most important question I think you need to answer today, and that's for this entire audience and for many, many people around the world, is the aloo in the biryani worth it? Because that is really what Bengal is hinging on today. The next election is hinging on
বাঙালির
that.
জীবনে আলুর মাহাত্ম্য বুঝলে না?
Exactly. But it is true in history when the Bahadur Shah Zafar,
Wajid Ali Shah.
Wajid Ali Shah, exiled by the British, was given a choice. Do you want to take your biryani cooks or your family? He picked his biryani cooks. So he knew what. But sorry, your question was different. Is humor difficult? I think humor is extremely difficult in 2020 because most of the media channels are doing your job. You guys watch Arnab Goswami and laugh, I get depressed. Because that's one less paycheck to me and one more to him. He's doing your job for you, right? So it's very, very difficult. For example, one of my favorite things about Arnab's ability to listen is day before yesterday, he said, "Shut up. I'm the most tolerant of all newscasters. Therefore," he said, "I'm the most tolerant. Therefore, I will speak and you will bloody well listen."
In one sentence.
What a lovely description of tolerance. What can a comedian do? That day I cancelled 2 shows.
But I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you what is better than watching news television in India. It's watching news television in India with the sound off. There is nothing
Much
funnier
better.
than that.
Much better.
And the way they
It's
go
much
about
better.
it is just you wondering, what are they talking about,
And I've always
Super.
wondered, I've done this research, why do Pakistani generals show up on right-wing channels? Any of these, now we have the left media and the right media, right? So on the right media, they bring a lot of Pakistanis and they dress them up to look Pakistani. You have to look a certain way to be
Keeping the
Pakistani.
false beard and
False beard, little handsome, rugged. And the newscaster's job is, "Aap log chor hai, China hates you, if Bangladesh hates you." Right? All day they carry on. And that fellow's like, yes. And I've realized why. Someone told me they shoot this in Dubai and they pay 10,000 dirhams. They fly you to Dubai, keep you in a hotel. You just have to come to the studio, be abused for 10 minutes. Rest of the day, you shop with your wife.
Are they looking for applications?
It'll be good to go. Suddenly it's like, General Nafiz, that's O3.
Well, I'm practicing.
You're practicing. So what they do is they wait all day on Babi says that you are a third-rate country. You are the worst nation. He's looking at his phone. NEFT aa gaya. We are. Carry on.
So
What can you compete with? What can you do? You could go to Kalamandir and make joke. What is the point?
That's approximately what I'll be doing from 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to have to open it out to questions. If you've lost your suitcase or you're looking for the aloo in your biryani, you ask these guys. So, any? This is the time to ask some embarrassing questions. Okay.
Can I just again? Unfortunately, these are the entertainers. On a slightly serious note, Woodhouse was number one on my. If I have to read something to lift my mood, it will always be a Woodhouse. Terry Pratchett would come close behind. But the other things that one can seriously learn from Woodhouse, apart from the ability to laugh at yourself, are the fact that what doesn't show. A brilliant Woodhouse line or page is a little like Sachin Tendulkar's straight drive going back past the bowler. It looks beautiful, but there's 10,000 hours of work behind it. Woodhouse was the ultimate craftsman. It didn't come naturally. His first book was published when he was 21. The stories before that were pretty awful. But, this was in 1902 or something. Within 20 years, he had produced what was arguably his finest novel, which you mentioned right at the beginning, Leave It to Smith, which I would recommend to anybody who hasn't read it. Does anybody remember the advertisement from Leave It to Smith? Where, Smith is looking for a job, and he says, do you want somebody to handle your mail? Somebody to take the dog for a run? Somebody to assassinate your aunt? Smith will do it. Crime not objected to, brackets, as long as it has nothing to do with fish. So those few lines, imagine the amount, because as you said, it's subversive, it's unexpected, and it leaves you looking for the story. It took him years of work to get there, and when he wrote a book, he took 2 years to flesh out the screenplay. He would turn out between 2 and 4 books a year, which is incredible. I mean, I haven't got one in 50 odd years. So, quick comparison, there should be one out in 2 years.
Well, yes, I think we can learn dedication of art from him. He used to print out his entire, typewrite, his entire manuscript, and then paste it on the walls at eye level, and then walk down the wall to see if he could spot any errors.
No, not only that, he would plan the ebb and flow of the plot. So when he thought that you needed a high point or a specially comic scene, like say Gussie Fink-Nottle's prize-giving speech at the Market Snodsbury Grammars, he would raise the page above the line, I want a big kicker here.
And his notes were about as long as the novel itself. So yes, he did actually work very hard, and he was an introvert. Like most humorists, he was very serious. Anuvab, are you a serious man?
Extremely. Always. Also, the thing about Woodhouse is, for some reason, and Radio 4 did a documentary on this, his biggest fans are still in India. Woodhouse is not read in Britain very much now.
In the US, not even during his lifetime. He was always a bigger hit. So Woodhouse, even before his exile after World War II, Woodhouse sold much more in the US than in Britain. And I guess right now it sells more in India, but it's declining because people would rather write lol.
Yeah, but Dr. Tharoor had done a series for the BBC where he goes around meeting Woodhouseian characters in India. There's a Woodhouse Society in Coimbatore. There's one in Calcutta.
And there's a very active group on Facebook.
Very active, and it's because I think it's true for this town every time I come. There is a British and Bengali sense of humor that are very similar. There's a kind of idle Bhadralok life. You were living on a pension. You got, I'm at a chitty lich. You've got people.
For all Bengalis at that time, civilization stopped at, you cross Hooghly Bridge, civilization stops, then it starts in Europe.
Yeah.
Majkhana is not civilization.
Yeah.
Not as we
The
know
rest
it.
of India is space.
Anubhav, here again, there's a difference in layers of humor.
Yeah.
So for Cockney humor and Kolkata street humor. So I've got a friend there who told me about a T-shirt which says, apparently I should wear a T-shirt that says, "Tuiki janish, ami ki jinish." So
On
Oh,
that-
তুই কি চিনিস আমি কি জিনিস?
Yeah, so that's
So that's one level.
Yeah.
The other is
that's straight My Fair Lady, right?
Yeah,
That's straight.
so the other level would be the very proper stories about Pramotanath Bishi standing on Gorihat corner.
Yeah. So the class system, the British class system, the Bengali Bhadralok and the working class, very similar, right? You try this in UP, probably not much will happen.
No, somebody lynch you. Yeah.
Someone will kill you. Kya English mein baat kar maro isko. You know, North India, same problem. South, probably similar. But for example, the detective story, a very British thing, a very Bengali thing. You know, like a slew of Bengali detectives exist, a slew of British detectives exist. Not a genre that works in the rest of India. You can't go into Gujarat and say, I have a great detective novel. They'll say, just go for a work for Ambani. You know, it's a different culture.
Yeah,
You know,
like,
it's a vibe.
Where I come from, Gurgaon, that's like straight out of the Wild West. So in
Yeah.
Gurgaon, what happens is, you know, when children get very agitated, you know, when there's bombs are being burst during Diwali, lots of sound and all, parents say, "Bache, soja, it's just gunfire," you know, because that's the only place you go. Every restaurant you go to Gurgaon, it says arms and ammunition not allowed. So you know, and it's also performance art. I mean, I think one of the most artistically beautiful things is seeing a Haryanvi Jat policeman try to scratch himself in winter through 5 layers of clothing. It's like Pavlova doesn't have it. Yahan se, wahan se, haath, and it doesn't go. And he's still trying to search it. And he's also the traffic police at the same time. It is something to seen to be believed. It is performance art of the highest level.
So on
So
that
don't
note,
diss my Gurgaon boss.
Yeah.
Don't diss
You
us
know,
Jats.
I'm going to be gun-fired if I don't get you guys off the stage.
No, just
so
just one closing. Strangely enough, so the resonance with Woodhouse is another Brit who is also a cult figure, possibly a bigger cult figure, which is John Lennon, because he summed up Woodhouse with one line: "Says nothing is real and nothing to get hung about." And to sum up, allow me 1 minute. So my favorite Lennon story also fits Woodhouse, because he says, you know, when I was a kid, I was in school, they asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, happy. And they told me, I don't understand the question. And I told them, you don't understand life.
Also, there's a favorite Woodhouse line I've loved, which Wilde used originally. Woodhouse lived, which I think all of us need desperately, which is a society that has lost its madness has also lost its reason. So if you can't be a little bit mad and a little bit quirky to how you look at life, there is no reason for it, which is along the same lines. So it's a Woodhouse line I've always loved.
we're going to have to say pip pip now. Thank you. Yes. Toodaloo.